Then Mayberry became a living town. We had all the comic characters that came on. I played straight for them.
For decades, the Andy Griffith Show has been a symbol of small-town charm. But behind the scenes, not everything was as picture-perfect as Mayberry. Now, Ron Howard, once the bright-eyed Opie Taylor, has finally broken his silence, revealing an untold truth that has left fans absolutely stunned. What could be so shocking that it remained a secret for all these years? Was it a hidden conflict with a beloved co-star, a behind-the-scenes moment that changed his career forever, or perhaps a revelation about his deep ties to someone we never saw coming? One thing's for sure, this bombshell will forever change the way you see The Andy Griffith Show. Stick around as we uncover the jaw-dropping truth Ron Howard just shared, something that even the biggest Mayberry fans never saw coming. The journey to Hollywood. Ron was introduced to the world of performing almost from birth. His father, a working character actor, and his mother, a stage performer, nurtured his interest in acting and storytelling. By the time he was 2, he had already appeared in his first film, Frontier Woman, 1956, and soon after, he landed small roles in television. His big break came when he was cast as Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show at the age of 6, a role that would define his early career and set the foundation for his future in Hollywood. Despite achieving early fame as a child actor, Howard always had aspirations beyond acting. While he enjoyed portraying Opie, he became fascinated by the filmmaking process and spent much of his time on set observing the directors and crew. Andy Griffith and the show's producers recognized his curiosity and encouraged his interest, even gifting him his first camera when he was a young boy. As he continued acting in Happy Days in the 1970s, Howard used every opportunity to learn about directing, often shadowing directors and experimenting with short films. Determined to establish himself behind the camera, he took a bold step by directing Grand Theft Auto, 1977, a low-budget action comedy which, while modest in scope, proved he had the skills to helm a feature film. Ron Howard's journey was just beginning, but before he became an acclaimed director, he first made history in a small town called Mayberry. Andy Griffith Show, a cultural icon. When The Andy Griffith Show premiered on CBS on October 3, 1960, few could have predicted that it would become one of the most beloved and enduring sitcoms in television history. Set in the fictional town of Mayberry, North Carolina, the series was a spin-off of The Danny Thomas Show, in which Andy Griffith had guest-starred as Sheriff Andy Taylor. The show's charm stemmed from its light-hearted humor, wholesome storytelling, and focus on small-town values, which resonated with audiences across America. Created by Sheldon Leonard, the show capitalized on Griffith's natural charisma and comedic timing, making his character the moral center of a community filled with eccentric but lovable residents. The series quickly gained traction, ranking in the top 10 Nielsen ratings for most of its 8-season run, and finishing as the #1 show in its final season in 1968. The reason why The Andy Griffith Show is distinguished from every other sitcom of the time is because of the fine balance between funny and sentimental. Although a comedy, the show would deal quite sharply with heavier themes of responsibility, family, and integrity without sounding preachy. As sheriff and single parent, Andy Taylor served as the steady, warm-hearted figure to lead not just young Opie, played by Ron Howard, but also his excitable deputy Barney Fife, played by Don Knotts. The character of Knotts became a fixture of the show foremost because of his delightful interpretation of the bumbling but well-meaning lawman, for whom he received 5 Emmy Awards. The combination of these two, humor and sincerity in a sitcom with a message, had set a model for later efforts in television trying to merge the two worlds. The Andy Griffith Show was not just an institution that proved immediately successful. It also had repercussions beyond its immediate manifestation in American television and culture. 2 spin-offs directly from the show came to be made. Gomer Pyle, USMC, and Mayberry RFD in addition to a reunion movie Return to Mayberry, which came out in 1986. The town of Mayberry has since served to symbolize all that was longed for and lost in terms of a simpler time, and has initiated festivals, museum exhibits, and even an annual Mayberry Days celebration in Mount Airy, North Carolina. The real-life hometown of Griffith and the inspiration for the fictional setting. Decades after the end of its original run, the series is still routinely aired in reruns, cementing its legacy of warmth, humor, and lasting lessons that continue to resonate among new generations of viewers. The heart of Mayberry on and off screen. Andy Griffith's portrayal of Sheriff Andy Taylor was more than just a television role. It was an extension of his own warm, easygoing personality. While his character exuded patience, wisdom, and humor, Griffith himself was deeply involved in shaping the tone of The Andy Griffith Show. Though he was not credited as a writer or producer, he played a key role in ensuring that the series maintained its signature blend of comedy and sincerity. He frequently collaborated with writers to refine scripts, often toning down jokes that felt too exaggerated or out of place for the show's gentle, homespun style. This hands-on approach helped The Andy Griffith Show stand apart from other sitcoms of the era, keeping it grounded in realistic, heartfelt storytelling that audiences found relatable. Off-screen, Griffith cultivated a strong bond with many of his co-stars, particularly Don Knotts and Ron Howard. His relationship with Knotts went beyond professional admiration. The two became lifelong friends, with Griffith fully supporting Knotts' comedic brilliance on set. Griffith also acted as a mentor to Howard, encouraging his early interest in filmmaking and treating him with the same kindness and guidance that his character, Andy Taylor, showed to Opie. However, not all of Griffith's relationships on set were as smooth. His dynamic with Frances Bevier, who played Aunt Bee, was notoriously strained. A classically trained actress, Bevier sometimes found Griffith's playful nature frustrating, leading to occasional tensions between the two. Despite this, both actors maintained professionalism, ensuring their on-screen chemistry remained intact throughout the show's run. After The Andy Griffith Show ended, Griffith kept shaping television and movies with projects dramatic in nature like Matlock, in which he played a razor-sharp defense attorney, cementing his status as an icon of television. Nonetheless, he was always thought of in connection with Mayberry and Sheriff Andy Taylor. He was seen by audiences as the heart of a simpler and nostalgically remembered epoch in American television. After the show ended, Griffith continued to talk about Mayberry with affection and reminisced about the good that the series had done for its audiences. Both as an actor and a storyteller, his legacy remains, with The Andy Griffith Show still celebrated for its warmth, humor, and moral lessons, much of this coming from Griffith himself in front of and behind the camera. Fame, friends, and finding his path. Ron Howard was just 6 years old when he was cast as Opie Taylor, the son of Sheriff Andy Taylor, on The Andy Griffith Show. While the role made him one of television's most recognizable child stars, it also brought unique challenges that most children never experience. Juggling long hours on set with schoolwork, Howard had little time for a typical childhood. Although he enjoyed acting, he later admitted that being in the spotlight made it difficult to connect with kids his own age. Some classmates teased him for his role, making him feel isolated despite his growing success. The pressures of child stardom were overwhelming at times, yet Howard persevered, in part due to the nurturing environment fostered by Andy Griffith and the rest of the cast. Griffith would also help Howard with all the Hollywood requirements. On the set, he taught Griffith not just the scenes, but also encouraged his speculation about filmmaking. According to Howard, Griffith has often been credited for modality in storytelling, for giving him the largely unique experience of being able to watch and even participate in the creative process. The easygoing, confident, and supportive atmosphere of The Andy Griffith Show contributed to Howard's smooth growth as an actor and budding filmmaker. After he expressed a desire to direct, he and the show producers even bought him his first camera. That simple yet meaningful gesture planted the seed that would grow into Howard's later career behind the camera, a path that eventually would lead to Academy Award-winning directing. However, the most difficult transition that even the Andy Griffith Show could not hold up for Howard was from child actor to adult filmmaker. The most difficult transition facing many young actors is the change from former child star to struggling young adult, and Howard refuses to be boxed in. That next biggest television break will establish him further as a teenager in the show Happy Days, but supposedly focused on directing for himself. Over the years, he would go on to direct critically acclaimed films such as Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, and The Da Vinci Code. While he had his gripes about being on the Andy Griffith Show, it did set the early groundwork for what may be a lifelong career within the entertainment industry and proved that endeavors early could lead to great success with the right guidance and motivation. Ron's successful portrayal. Ron Howard's portrayal of Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show remains one of the most beloved child performances in television history. Cast at just 6 years old, Howard brought a natural charm and authenticity to the role of Sheriff Andy Taylor's young son. Unlike many child characters of the time, Opie wasn't portrayed as overly precocious or exaggeratedly cute. Instead, he was a relatable, curious, and occasionally mischievous boy learning life lessons under the steady guidance of his father. Howard's ability to deliver emotional depth, whether it was displaying joy, sadness, or quiet understanding, set him apart from many other child actors. His genuine chemistry with Andy Griffith helped make their father-son dynamic the emotional core of the show, creating touching moments that still resonate with audiences today. One of Howard's most memorable scenes as Opie came in the episode Opie the Birdman, in which Opie accidentally slays a mother bird with his slingshot and must care for the orphaned hatchlings. The episode showcased Howard's ability to convey guilt, responsibility, and growth in a way that felt incredibly real for a child actor. His tender performance added weight to the show's moral lessons without feeling forced or overly sentimental. Griffith himself often praised Howard's acting instincts, even recounting how Howard, at just 7 years old, suggested a minor line change to make his dialogue sound more natural. This level of understanding and commitment to authenticity made Opie one of the most well-rounded and endearing child characters in television history. As The Andy Griffith Show progressed, Howard's portrayal of Opie evolved naturally, reflecting his own growth from a small child into a young teenager. Unlike many shows where child characters remain static, Opie was allowed to mature, facing new challenges and responsibilities as he aged. This development kept the character fresh and relatable, ensuring that audiences remained invested in his journey. Howard's time as Opie Taylor laid the foundation for his later success as a filmmaker, instilling in him an early appreciation for storytelling, character development, and the art of filmmaking. Decades later, his role as Opie is still celebrated as a defining example of heartfelt and sincere child acting in television history. But while Ron Howard's time on The Andy Griffith Show was filled with heartwarming moments and career-defining lessons, not all of his co-stars shared the same harmonious experience behind the scenes. The feud behind the scenes. Tensions existed behind the scenes, particularly between Andy Griffith and Frances Bavier, who played Aunt Bee. Unlike many of her co-stars, Bavier was a trained stage actress with a serious and professional approach to acting. She reportedly found Griffith's light-hearted demeanor and frequent on-set pranks unprofessional, leading to occasional clashes between the two. Griffith, who was known for creating a relaxed and fun atmosphere on set, sometimes found Bavier's no-nonsense attitude difficult to work with. Their differing personalities and approaches to acting created an underlying strain that lasted throughout the show's run. However, Both actors stayed true to the roles they played and kept a reasonable professionalism to shine through the characters' relationship on screen. After all, Aunt Bee was a beloved motherly figure for Opie that probably had her best presence set in the sheriff's character, giving birth to some episodes with the warmest moments, while getting into trouble with Griffithley during the off time from the movie. But their relationship was not reflected in the performances saved for the warm, shining, authentic chemistry the Griffiths-Baviera partnership had on screen for all those years. After the show closed for good, Bavier concentrated mostly on herself and her retirement from public view in North Carolina, where she lived until passing in 1989. Instead, however, on a coincidence, Bavier made peace with Griffith as part of her amends much later in life. Another subtle but notable source of tension concerns the evolving dynamics between Ron Howard and his working co-stars as he grew up on the show. Howard was well liked by the cast and crew. However, the difficulty of defining his role increased as he transitioned from child star to teen. As Opie grew older, writers grappled with ways to keep his character relevant, while minimizing any overshadowing of the adult relationships of the central cast. Later, Howard would recall that although he always felt supported by his colleagues on the set, at times he got the impression that his increasing involvement in some creative discussions, promoted by Griffith, might not have been appreciated by all. Whatever the disagreements, the cast kept the level of professionalism high enough that the Andy Griffith Show remained heartfelt and classic, even if it was not all rainbows and sunshine behind the scenes. Life after the show. After the Andy Griffith Show ended in 1968, Ron Howard successfully transitioned from child star to teenage actor, landing a leading role in the hit sitcom Happy Days. As Richie Cunningham, Howard played the clean-cut, all-American boy next door, solidifying his status as one of television's most recognizable young actors. Happy Days became a massive success throughout the 1970s, but even as he thrived on screen, Howard had his sights set on a different path, directing. During his time on Happy Days, he began learning about filmmaking behind the scenes, working closely with directors and gaining first-hand experience that would shape his future. Determined to move beyond acting, he left Happy Days in 1980 to fully pursue a directing career, a risky move that would soon pay off in remarkable ways. Howard's early directing career was marked by a mix of comedies and dramas.
On a personal note, while this is fun, it's emotional to look back, what's especially gratifying is that I'm so proud.
Beginning with Grand Theft Auto, a low-budget action comedy he co-wrote and directed. While the film was a modest success, it was his work on Night Shift, starring Michael Keaton and Henry Winkler, that caught Hollywood's attention. His breakthrough came with Splash, a romantic fantasy starring Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah, which became a box office hit and cemented Howard's reputation as a skilled filmmaker. Over the next 2 decades, he directed a series of critically and commercially successful films, including Cocoon, Parenthood, Apollo 13, and A Beautiful Mind, the latter of which won the Academy Award for Best Picture and earned Howard the Oscar for Best Director. Today, Ron Howard is considered one of Hollywood's most accomplished directors, with a career spanning multiple genres, from drama, Frost, Nixon, Rush, to fantasy, Willow, and blockbuster hits, The Da Vinci Code, Solo: A Star Wars Story. As a co-founder of Imagine Entertainment, he has also produced numerous successful films and television series, further cementing his influence in the industry. Despite his evolution from child actor to award-winning director, Howard has never forgotten his roots. He frequently acknowledges the impact the Andy Griffith Show had on his career, crediting Andy Griffith for inspiring his love of storytelling. His journey from Opie Taylor to one of Hollywood's most respected filmmakers remains one of the most remarkable success stories in entertainment history. Even after forging a wildly successful career in Hollywood, Ron Howard never forgot the people who shaped his early years, leading to a touching reunion that held more meaning than anyone could have expected. A reunion photo that meant more than ever. On February 15, 2024, Ron Howard took to Instagram to share a nostalgic and deeply meaningful photo of a reunion with his The Andy Griffith Show co-stars, Andy Griffith and Don Knotts. The image, taken in 1997 on the set of Ransom, captured a rare and touching moment between the three actors, decades after they had brought Mayberry to life. In his caption, Howard reminisced about the visit, revealing a surprising discovery. He and Don Knotts were actually distant cousins. This revelation, while lighthearted, reinforced the deep, almost familial bond that the cast had shared during and after their time on the show. The tribute was met with an outpouring of love from fans, who continue to hold The Andy Griffith Show close to their hearts. Howard's heartfelt reflection on his time with Griffith and Knotts extended beyond their on-screen roles. In interviews, he has consistently credited Griffith with fostering a creative environment that encouraged young actors like himself to explore and contribute to the artistic process. He fondly recalled how Griffith and the show's producers had even gifted him his first camera after learning about his early interest in filmmaking, a small but significant moment that set him on the path to becoming an acclaimed director. In a June 2024 conversation with Conan O'Brien, Howard reiterated just how much Griffith shaped his understanding of storytelling, praising his former mentor's commitment to grounding humor in authenticity rather than slapstick. While they are both deceased at the present time, the legacy of Griffith and Knotts is still woven into the success of Howard. He learned important lessons from Mayberry family members and has carried them with him as he has transitioned from playing Opie as a child to directing Academy Award-winning films. His Instagram eulogy was not just an overly sentimental remembrance, but it represented the tangible power of such formative years. It highlighted Griffith and Knotts' personal and professional impact, helping to turn collective payment for that experience into one of Hollywood's most admired filmmakers. Even after decades of The Andy Griffith Show, Howard's tribute is proof that even the bonds created in Mayberry are still living today, across generations of fans and ensuring that the warmth of the show never fades. And that's it. What do you think about the show? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this deep dive into The Andy Griffith Show, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more behind-the-scenes Hollywood stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And before you go, check out the next video on your screen for more untold stories and Hollywood secrets. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.